I love your shirt though.
Yeah, thanks. I just got my new Scooby-Doo shirt. I don't know. Everything I get seems to be purple lately. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. As very often happens with this show, one guest comes from an introduction from another guest. And today's guest was introduced to me by none other than Thomas Allen. If you watch the show regularly, you know that Thomas is the owner of my very favorite vinegar company, California Balsamic Vinegars, because they make an incredible array of SOS-free, sugar, oil, salt-free vinegars. And he heard about this product and he thought I would like it. And he had the one lady send it to me, the lady, her name's Laura, the lady. And it was excellent. So as you know, I don't eat any sugar. And so I like occasionally to buy a jam because I do know how to make it myself, but you know, it's so convenient when you can buy it. And there are companies that you could find in stores, but this was so much better. The flavors, everything about it. I wish I could show you the product, but I use it all because my favorite recipe from my latest book, Own Your Health, is the jam bars, which is the recipe you get when you sign up to be on my mailing list. And it's fantastic. So please welcome the creator of Laura Ann's Jams, which are sugar-free, Laura Ann. It's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
It is my pleasure. And I know you're going to be making 4 recipes today, but before we dive into the recipes, how did Thomas Allen even find you?
You know, I found him on Instagram and wrote him because he just had a product and I thought it would go well with my product. I asked him if he wanted to do something together, and then we started exchanging product and started talking. You know, most of us makers meet each other at events or on, you know, Instagram or Facebook. Like you just run across someone and you just shoot them a note like, hey, you make vinegar, I make jam. You could put them together to make a dressing and we need to be friends.
That's so fantastic. How long have you been doing this and how has COVID affected your business? Because I would imagine you probably go to maybe like farmers markets or small like events like Thomas.
Yes. Yeah. We all stopped doing events. And COVID was, it was difficult, but a lot of people were ordering online. So I feel like a lot of my business was also wholesale to restaurants. So where it hurt me the most was a lot of the restaurants closed down. Like empathetically, it also hurt me too, because all my friends, in a day didn't have any more work. It's been a long year, but now it's starting to lighten up a little bit, which is good. I started my business in about 2009, probably before, because I've been making jam for so long, but I know that I wouldn't got my business official name and license in 2009 because it says so on my little business permit.
How does one become a jam maker? What got you interested in starting to make jam? And what is jam? And how is jam different than preserves or jelly?
Well, sugar. I mean, technically, jam is like mixed fruit and juice and a certain amount of sugar. And then there's also fruit spreads, which is the product that we're talking about, which is more of like just a fruit and either no sugar or like really light sugar. I don't use any sugar in mine. I just use other fruit, but we'll talk about these in a second. And then, you know, marmalades, fruit spreads, jelly is just the juice with pectin, you know. So, I mean, the technical terms are all a little bit, but it has to do with sugar. And most of the time I feel like it has to do with consistency too. Like whether there's fruit in it, whether the fruit's chopped up or whether it's whole. There's so many different, terminology.
I could tell that yours were much better quality than some of the like store name brands that maybe don't have sugar, but like you say, we're more like jelly-like, more kind of just like watery.
Right. Well, I worked at it for a really long time. The lo-fi jams that we're talking about, I made the regular jams for a really long time. My company, the twist of Laura Ann's Jams was always like my sugar added flavors have some kind of twist, like strawberry Syrah or blueberry basil, that type of thing. But a lot of people were asking me at the events for just a regular flavor, and a lot of people that were regulars would come and be like, I'm taking a break from sugar. I miss you. I miss your product. And I was just like, I really wanted to work on a sugar-free product. And I worked on it for years because, of course, the first thing you think is like just sugar substitute, right? So I tried the stevias and I tried like different sugar, and they're just not my thing. And someone had suggested grape juice to me, and I started working with that because I love the idea of the entire product is completely fruit. I mean, even the pectin I use is fruit, so it's all fruit. So it's 100% fruit. It's 100% natural and amazing. And once I started working with the consistency, like you were saying, I was like, how am I gonna get this to set? How am I gonna get to spread like a jam and still be like a good hearty fruit spread? And finally kind of like cracked the code. And I decided to start with strawberry, raspberry, and Marionberry, which are the 3 flavors that we have as of now. I also made a little 3-pack, a little Chef AJ 3-pack that's on my website. And they are just, they're so amazingly good. Like, I'm really proud at how kind of simple it is. And that's why I ended up actually calling them lo-fi jams, because it reminded me, when I started my business, I used to be in a rock and roll band once upon a time. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I had just kind of, let's say, retired from independent rock and roll. I was on tour for 5 years. I got to LA. I'm like, it's 75 and sunny. I'm going to work in the food industry because that's what I love, and kind of retired. And I started making jams. And of course, all my friends, they're like, what are you doing in LA? I'm like, I'm making jams. They're like, what's the name of your band? I'm like, no, it's like real jam. Like, I'm making jam that you eat, not jam that you play. So my whole line kind of is a little nod to the rock and roll. A lot of it, like the packaging, I wish I could get closer, but I put this table in the way. The top of it looks like a little record label, like greatest hits. I'm always like kind of little music nod all the time. So the lo-fi music is basically like a simple stripped down music, like someone just turning on record and playing their guitar. That's what's considered like lo-fi music on a boombox, and that's the recording, and they just give it to you, and they're like, oh, it's lo-fi. It's really simple and, I don't know, stripped down in a way. So when I made these, I'm like, it's so simple. It's all fruit. It's all fresh and natural. It kind of reminded me of someone just making a song and putting it out. So I called them lo-fi jams. And I kind of am really proud of that.
You've actually brought a whole new meaning to the word jam session.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So, think about it. You're going to be doing recipes today, and you're not just spreading it on toast. A lot of people think, jam, peanut butter and jelly, on toast, but there's so many other ways to use jam.
So much. I'm actually really excited today because it sticking within all the dietary movement that you guys are doing really helped me like think and stretch my idea of like what I could do with this stuff. And I wanted to bring you guys something fun and a little more savory, but also explain to people like how simple it is to use jam. Like once you start and break the seal, as they say, you start thinking about it in a different way. So I'm hoping today that my presentation not only tells people about my product and my jams, that it also like inspires them to do like interesting, creative things in a very simple kind of like easy way, very pure. You'll see, because I guess we can start. Did you have any more questions?
I was wondering, when things open up again, if people do live in the Los Angeles area, where can they find your jams if they didn't want to order online?
Well, I'm in a bunch of specialty stores. Not everybody carries the lo-fi jams, but I try to keep up on that on my Instagram page, which everything is at Laura Ann's Jams. LAURAANNS, Laura Ann's Jams.com. Facebook is the same, you know, Instagram's the same. Yeah, and so I try to put everyone who carries my jams. I just started with COVID. I started using something called Fair, where I am getting in a lot more. It's a wholesale sales thing. So I'm in a lot more national stores that are ordering from me through this really great source. It's really been helpful and helped me get into other places. So I try to put little announcements on Instagram, like if there's something new somewhere, and let people know where the lo-fi stuff is at if they want to get it hand to hand. I also do events, and same thing, like I'll post them. The only one that I'm going to do for sure right now is the Jackalope Fair in Pasadena. And they usually do it a couple times a year. And I was signed up for one that was supposed to happen, you know, right after COVID. They had a spring fair that got canceled, and then, you know, everything's canceled. But they're coming back, which is going to be fun. You know, everything's so different. I don't know if we'll be able to do tastings, but I'll be there and jams in hand, ready to smile and meet everybody again.
Great. Well, so what are the recipes you're making?
Oh, well, today I wrote it down. So I gave you the recipes that we're going to post online, and I'll also put them on my website. On my website, I have a recipe area. I do a lot with cocktails with my other jams, and I do drinks and that type of thing. So there's a drink section, and then there's a recipe section. I haven't put these up yet, but I'll put them up today after this. So that way they're there where people could download them. They'll also be in the show notes today, so you can follow along. I also prepped everything, so it should go pretty easy. And I watched a bunch of I do watch all of your videos. I was the green tea lady I really loved the other day. But I always laugh with the blender, and I was consciously like, okay, if you do stuff with a blender, blend it ahead of time, because Zoom always cuts them out, and it makes me laugh every time. But I'm going to start with a Marionberry roasted shallot. The recipe I have calls for shallots, water, my lo-fi Marionberry jam, some fresh ground black pepper, onion powder, and then just a little like fresh rosemary or thyme or herbs to put on it. It's very simple, and I love this one because I love using these products in other things, which we'll talk about as we move forward. Another thing, or one of the reasons I chose this as well, is I feel that the onion is like the forgotten vegetable, even though it's in everything. You know, if you think about the onion and like the history of the onion, the base of it is like the base of cuisines for the world. Like your mirepoix is onion, sofrito, curries, but nobody thinks of it as like vegetable, hearty vegetable to use. So I love onions. I have a whole thing of different onions, shallots. The recipe says shallots, but you can use this idea with any onion. So you just want to take a shallot or any onion that you want, and you want to peel it, and you're just going to put it on a baking tray that is lined with aluminum foil. So I pre-did my aluminum foil can, and you're just going to place them on the pan. You're going to do this with whatever onions you want. So you peel the outside out, you cut them up, and you put them on the tray. You then are going to put them in and roast them. So I roasted some ahead of time, so you can see that you like just put them in. Let me see. So it's a preheated oven at 415. Trim and peel everything. Put them on a baking sheet with a little bit of water. So it kind of steams them and cooks them. So roasted onions. And then I got some clear stuff so you can see what I'm doing. So you take them out of the oven, probably not with your bare hand because you won't have done this ahead of time. You'll have a hot mitt on, but you're gonna take them and just put them in a bowl. So I did some red onions, I did some white onions, I did little shallots here, but you're gonna put them in a bowl. Boop, boop, boop. One more, pretty easy.
Hey, Laura Ann, there's a question
Yeah.
from Claudia. What is Marionberry? I mean, that's actually a person's name, Marionberry, but what is?
It is. But Marionberry is a blackberry. It's actually one of the most common blackberries, and most of you eat them more often than you realize. Like the packaging will say blackberry, but it's actually a Marionberry. It's, I don't know if I would call it a daughter or a cousin of the olala berry. Like it's half olala berry and half another kind of like bigger, fatter berries, because those are like kind of smaller, but it definitely has that olala berry flavor in it. But it's a blackberry. It's just like the technical name for the blackberries that I use because I'm a nerd. So, so the fruit, oh shoot, it is a little backwards. That's okay. So you do the fruit spread, the Marionberry fruit spread, and you're gonna mix this. I'm gonna put these up into my smaller bowl for a second. Boop. I got ahead of myself. All right, so you put the Marionberry jam in a bowl. I don't know if you can see because of my lighting, but that's okay. And then you're just gonna add some onion powder. All right. Add a little onion powder, and seriously, so easy. You're gonna mix this up. I always add a little black pepper. You could do a mixed pepper, like whatever pepper's in your pepper grinder. And so you're just giving it like, you know, a little extra savory zing. So you have your fruit spread mixed in there with everything. And then you put the shallots back in. And you kind of just want to coat them with this awesome berry mixture. And you're going to put it back into the oven for a little bit. So right back, it's just coated. We're coated. Can we see? Da, da, da.
Laura Ann, some people are saying they've been told to avoid foil. So could they use parchment paper or a silpat?
Yes, you can, but it's definitely, you know, the sugars are, well, between an onion and the sugars, you're going to get a little bit of like candy, and you don't want to mess your pans up because it'll definitely do a little bit of that. But yeah, I've used parchment paper. I think the fact that you have to put a little bit of the water in there before you put it in the oven, because you want to steam, when you're roasting an onion, you want to steam it like a little teeny bit. So you're cooking it, but just like a little bit of steam to cook it through, so it has that softness and that little caramelization. And then you just kind of toss it in the jam, throw it back into the oven. And again, like Julia Child magic, here they are, like coated and cooked and ready to go. I have these from earlier this morning, but I also have these shallots that I made, sorry.
People are asking if you ever thought to try it in an air fryer.
I don't have an air fryer because I have a teeny weeny house and I don't have a microwave, I don't have an air fryer, and I don't have an Instapot. So watching your show, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I'm a gadget girl, mind you. I would in a second. But I do have a pretty tiny home. I don't know if you can see my limited counter space and then this floating island. But one day I'll find a space for it. But so this might actually, if someone wants to try to do an air fryer, give it a toss and tell me how that works. I would love to figure out how to do that and share that with all my fans too. So this is the finished product on a plate. Can everyone see? They're beautiful, they're delicious, they look great on everything. And the great thing about these is you can make a big tray of them. And then once you have them, I end up putting them on everything. Like I even made like a little salad, and you can just, you know, put shallots on the salad. You can add them to like your couscous dishes. You can make this an actual dish itself. If you want to fluff it up even a little bit more, you can add some peppers to make it like a main dish where it's just onions and peppers, and you can eat that as is. You can, you could serve whole. You could mix into sauteed vegetables. You could top a sandwich. You could stir into like a couscous dish, and that would really like brighten it up. And like I said, it's kind of like a sweet but really savory and amazing like addition to other dishes. So this is the Marionberry roasted shallots. Ta-da!
What an inspired use of jam. So creative. I never would have thought that. And you bet I'm going to try
just
it.
Roast it up. Oh, do you know what else I did with it? I don't know if you guys do vegan sour cream, but I also just chopped some up and mixed it in there, and I made like an instant little dip, just, you know, with some celery. And so there's so like you could have them and then continue to go off and do so many other things with them, just to take a dish that maybe you're used to and give it like a little bit different edge on it. It's super fun. I love that. Like I love coming up with stuff like that. And sweet, yeah, I don't know, roasted onions. Do you know it was one thing when I was talking about the onions and how much I love them with a friend of mine? She told me a fact that was really interesting, that Egyptians used to like almost worship onions. They would be buried with them because they thought that the onion represented eternal life because of the circles and how it circles all the way into the middle. And it's so fun, you know, someone teaches you a little fact like that. Now every time I look at an onion, I'm like, eternal life, you know. It's so sweet.
That's very cool.
I know, it's pretty amazing. Well, I mean, onions, I'm like the onion council now. But, you know, they have health benefits. They have lots of vitamin C and vitamin B and potassium and iron. Like I said, I really feel like the onion is a vegetable that you need to add more. And with your Laura Ann's Lo-Fi jams that you get at lauraannsjams.com, you can mix that in there and make yourself something like just a little more interesting. Eat more onions.
Deborah saying she likes to put jam in her oatmeal.
Oh yeah. Oatmeal's that's like a morning everyday treat. And again, you know, with the no sugar, you can totally do that. I do it every morning.
That's so cool. What's your most popular flavor?
The lo-fis are new, so they're still kind of rolling out. I personally, raspberry's always been my favorite jam. So I use the lo-fi raspberry a lot. I use it on everything. And that's one that I use a lot for kind of like savory stuff. With the next lo-fis are new, so they're still kind of rolling out. I personally, raspberry's always been savory stuff.
I'm sorry.
Lo-fis are new, so I hear an echo, so I just...
Sorry about that. I am so sorry about that. I just fixed it.
I just stood here. I was like, is that me?
Yeah, I'm hearing double.
I was like, that sounds so interesting. She's fascinating.
That was it.
So the raspberry's been my favorite. And the next recipe we're gonna do is blackberry bean soup with just a raspberry ANCHO swirl. And again, this is really simple. I basically gave everybody just kind of a favorite black bean soup recipe. And although you have one on your side too, mine isn't as creamy as yours. So mine has a little more texture than Chef AJ's, but it is delicious and goes great with my intro swirl. I made some yesterday, so we didn't have to go through the whole thing, but it is black beans. I used Rancho Gordo black beans, which I don't know if everyone's familiar with Rancho Gordo. Like, just if you're not, you need to be familiar with them. They're like some of the best heirloom beans on the planet. And yeah, pretty local guy and the real deal. So I used that. Those are dry beans though. You can choose to use canned beans, it's up to you, but dry beans you have to do overnight, but you do them in the Instapot, right?
Absolutely. But
yeah,
I buy canned beans as well, often self-food canned beans just for convenience.
I know, I do well in my little kitchen. So I soaked mine overnight. And then just vegetable stock and onion, carrots, fresh garlic, bay leaves. And one thing that I love adding to bean soups is other fresh vegetables. So I added spinach to this one, which I really love the texture and how it turned out.
Is that the dress you're wearing? It looks beautiful.
It is. It's cute. I know I have my little apron on because we are in the kitchen. But yes, it's the world. Thank you for noticing.
You seem like a very artistic person.
Well, I guess so. Definitely. I love painting, and cooking is really like my passion though. I find when you get together with other like-minded chefy people and you start talking about all these little things, who's going to be excited about an onion besides my food friends? And we could talk for hours about it. So
no, I'm excited about it because I never would have thought to pair it with a jam.
Well, cooking really is an art, one of the arts, I feel, because you put your heart and soul into something and you give it to somebody else and you kind of handing over all this amazing energy. And when you love something and love what you're doing, you can always taste it. You could tell when people love what they do. And I love what I do, and I love sharing it. It's been, going back to the COVID thing, it's been oddly rewarding this year because people have actually taken the time to write me letters. Like, I got so many letters this year of people just thanking me for my jams. And it's so special because, my business, I make the jam and I pack up the packages and I ship it off to people. But when someone writes you back, I gave this gift to my grandma and it was so special and it tastes just like her marmalade from, England. And I got so much love, and it was really inspiring, and it was really helped me hang in there and know that I'm on the right path. It's so rewarding to make people happy through your art. And my art was music, and now my art is making food. But I love that I'm still able to give a little bit of myself to someone. It's interesting to think about, not only am I making it and putting little labels on and shipping it to someone, so I'm putting a lot of energy into giving this to someone. And I don't know, it's just nice to know that it's appreciated on a level of real love. It was very nice. It was really sweet.
Well, that's the thing. Creative people have to create.
Yes, creative people have to create. And it's so exciting to share it with you. So I created this bowl of bean soup, which is amazing. And I can't wait for you to taste it. But what we're going to add to it, similar to what we just did on the last one. So even though you're thinking, jam and peanut butter and jelly, a real easy way to up your ante. Sorry, I got to grab another spoon. Good thing I'm in my kitchen. I could get everything right away. So the raspberry lo-fi jam, just, you can do this there's a recipe with actual measurements. You can do this as needed. Like, you know, I'm about to eat this singular bowl instead of the huge batch of beans I made, and it's just me today. So I would make, you know, a couple teaspoons full of jam. Sorry, I hope my lighting's okay. Teaspoons full of jam. Take your favorite chili. Mine recently has been this chili powder, Piment de Ville. Can you see that? Hold on, I'm gonna come closer to you. Piment de Ville.
Tell us about that. How is that different? How is that brand different?
You know, she dehydrates and picks the pimentos herself. I saw a whole Facebook Live thing with her with one of my clients, which is called Foodocracy here in California. And they ship out like little boxes of a bunch of different artisans, and she was one of them. So I was featured in a box with her. And then after watching her do a cooking demonstration, you know, sometimes you see these things and you're like, I have to have that. And then once I started using it, I just started putting it on everything. It's a Basque red chili powder, and I love it. It's like not too spicy, but it definitely has like that good hearty kick, and it's so unique. I mean, it looks almost like it's just, you know.
What's the website? I'll look it up and I'll put a link. What's it called on the website?
PimentDeVille.com. Can you see that?
What's the first? Piment, Piment.
Yep. DeVille, DIVLLE. From Boonville, California. Another California girl.
I'm going to look it up. Kelly wants to know if the barbecue sauce is vegan on your website. Maybe you can just talk about what your other products, because not everybody is like me and avoids sugar at all costs.
This is true. The barbecue sauce I tried is my friend's recipe, and I made it for her. So it has, you know what? Yes, it is vegan. I was trying to think if there was a Worcestershire in it, but there isn't. Now that I think about it, yes, it is. I will double, triple check. But that's my friend Aurora from Chicago has a barbecue company called Iron Box Barbecue. And I was just like, well, I have a commercial kitchen and I can make your barbecue sauce if you want. So I did a small couple batches and put it out there. That's another thing that I added during COVID. You know, I had just the jams, but since I was sending out all of these packages, I started carrying some items from some of my other maker friends. Like I have a granola, that's my personal favorite granola from a local lady. I actually carry Thomas's white balsamic vinegar because I put it in so much stuff and I use it to make salad dressings with the jam. So I have some small bottles of the California balsamic premium white balsamic vinegar. The vanilla, I just started, you know, the people that I use for my jams, like the products in my jams, I have the maple syrup from Garvis's Maple in Vermont. That's where I order for it's a maple pumpkin butter. So I put their syrup on my website when he was sending me the big jugs to make, you know, because I do huge batches of jam. So when he sent me the jugs, I just asked if he could send me little bottles and I put them up on the website. And then I basically added like Laura Ann's Pantry, because I meet so many great people and there's so many great products. And a lot of times they go with my products. And I was making, you know, little gift boxes. And it was like, why not support my friends? Why not support my friend that makes nut butters and add them to a peanut butter and jelly box or something to that extent? So yeah, I don't know. It's been like a slow addition, but I really love the idea of it. I mean, Laura Ann's Pantry, I almost see me having like a little shack in a small town one day selling like jams and pickles and preserves and maybe some black bean soup with some ancho chili paste. So this is just the piment de ville and some of the raspberry, I'm coming back over again.
Yeah, I could see you having a shop. You're like everybody's fun aunt.
I am everybody's fun aunt. Well, there's two that I'm their fun aunt, and they get big things of jam sent to college. So my niece and nephew are lucky. So the consistency of my jam is perfect for this because it's like spreadable, but it's also, you could totally mix it in with things. And I'm super proud of this consistency. Again, like those beautiful grapes with all their antitoxins making my jam perfect. So this just makes like a little sauce. So now you have a peppery, raspberry, yummy sauce.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, just such
a and I just swirl that in to my black bean soup.
Who would have thought? I mean, you're taking it to the next level.
Right, I know. So you can have, again, what I love about having jams in the fridge is you can have like kind of the same dish, but jazz it up and make it like a little different the next day. So here we go, everybody. Can you see my little rancho swirl? Oh, there, highlighting. Thanks for helping me out. So my little black bean soup with ancho swirls.
Do you have a dog? Somebody's asking.
I do. We had to. Did you just hear her scratching at the door?
Oh, that's so funny. Nice.
I have two dogs, Schnitzel and Strudel.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You have Bailey, right?
Yeah, that's so funny. Schnitzel and Strudel. I think of the song "My Favorite Things."
Exactly.
Schnitzel.
They are my favorite things.
Sharon says, I found a frog jam, thankfully not made with real frogs, when I came up the East Coast. Fig, raspberry, orange, and ginger. I wonder if Laura could create this without sugar.
That is a really good question. I mean, now that I've broken the seal, I'm going to start experimenting with all kinds of stuff. I mean, again, with this lo-fi line, I was thinking about keeping this as like my pure, just straight fruit. So maybe a fig one with, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I could mix it up. Stay tuned. Very possibly keep sending me suggestions because I'm always putzing around in the kitchen.
Well, I always say, take the suggestions, and if you end up making that flavor, they get a free jar.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I actually had some contests with some of my friends to name some of the jams that I made. Like I have one that's called Peachy Queen that was peach, vanilla bean, and Grand Marnier, that for my mom because she drinks Grand Marnier all the time. And I just asked my friends on Facebook and I got hundreds. Like everybody was giving me ideas and all these different ideas on what to name the jams. And yeah, I was like, you get a free case of your own personally named flavor. So I love that. Yeah, anybody. And like I said, I am the company. So, you're Chef AJ. So if you send a letter, I'm the receptionist. When people call the number on the jars and I pick up the phone, they're always surprised, like, what? It's you?
You're just like Thomas. I love supporting small businesses. I really do. And I love to have you guys on the show because your products are so good.
I know. And it's fun to know that you're supporting Schnitzel and Strudel with every purchase.
You are funny. Have you ever done stand-up? I bet you'd be great.
No, I haven't. And I think it's because I was the general manager. Well, first of all, I was in a band. And so I was out all the time playing with all the different bands. And so you're at venues all the time. And then I ran a place in Los Angeles called El Cid, which was a flamenco dinner theater. But at night, they would have other events like comedy or rock and roll bands and stuff. And I just saw so many open mics and so much comedy that I don't think I can do any better.
What did you play in the band? What instrument?
I was a drummer. Although they say once you, and just between us, I am the greatest living female drummer on planet Earth. And it is a crime to humanity that I'm not playing anymore. but now I get to share jams with everybody. So it's okay that I retired.
Oh, you are hilarious.
Well, you know, it's okay. I'm sharing other things with people. I can't be, well, maybe I am good at everything, but I can't be good at everything.
Do you ship only to the United States?
Yeah, only to the United States for now. The thing about it's the glass jars, which has been really hard to source this year, but they're heavy. It would be so expensive that I would almost feel bad shipping it to someone. I suppose if someone wanted to pay for it, but it's even hard to ship nationally. Like I ship for just $9.99 per box, but most boxes cost way more than that. Like, I kind of eat it on shipping sometimes, but I want people to have the product, and you just have to kind of like work that out. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it's hard. Shipping's really expensive, and I don't think it's going to get any less expensive. We'll see what happens with our crazy world. hopefully I'll be able to continue shipping for a long time to come, because I really, like I said, I really enjoy being able to get to like each person individually. It's really a blessing.
Somebody watching, maybe you know them, the Passionistas Project.
Of course I do.
Well, they're saying that Laura Ann's coffee is the best. I'm not a coffee drinker, but why is it the best?
Oh, that's an excellent question. It is the best because it is a coffee that I get from my friends at Broadcast Coffee up in Seattle. This was another thing that I was adding things to make breakfast boxes and that and what have you. And I got a special roast just for me that I really enjoy. It's just like a little bit longer, but not too dark of a roast where it tastes really burnt. Like sometimes it's hard to find a coffee maker that you really like. I know you don't drink coffee, but once you start tasting things differently and really understand flavor profiles, I call it Tiki Barista. So it's Tiki Barista coffee. And I named it that because at the time that I put it together, I was doing like coconut cold brews with it. And so you just grind it big and throw some coconut in there and stick it overnight, and you have coconut cold brew. And I was just like, oh, it's like a tiki party, but it's a coffee tiki party.
I'm just curious because you didn't know me till you knew me, but when you see or hear about people like me that like, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink alcohol, she doesn't eat sugar, salt, oil. Like, do you just think like I'm crazy?
Oh, no, it's like I've been a restaurant manager for a long time in addition to being a jam lady. So you run into people with so many different like diets, or I think the celiac thing and the gluten thing, once people really realized what was wrong with them. I had multiple close friends that always had a skin problem, and as soon as they changed their diet, it fixed it. So no, I mean, I respect it, and everyone's got like their own little things. And for me as a kitchen tinkerer, I find it to be like a challenge, and I just want to make that person happy and healthy. If that's what's good for your health and everybody's health, to work that stuff out. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's admirable. It's more like, wow, how do you do these things? So coming to the show for me was like this wonderful challenge.
I love that you have that attitude. Are you like a Gemini or an Aquarius?
Scorpio girl.
Scorpio. I would never have
No,
guessed.
you would think I'd be so much more evil, but I'm nice, but don't cross me.
Okay, I wish I talked about that before, but now I'm glad to know. So Thomas Allen, who is the reason you're on the show, said Laura Ann is a very bright young woman. And there's a question from someone who, there it is, a monarch said, what do you use to thicken the jam if you don't use sugar? And another question is from Karen, do your other jams contain sugar? I can't find the ingredients on the website.
I know I have to add them. I'm slowly bringing my website up to, professional level. But there is sugar. I use organic sugar, but there is sugar in all of my other jams except for the lo-fi. And I'm sorry, I already forgot. What was the first question?
What do you use to thicken the
Oh,
jams?
grape juice. And that's what really like blew my mind, because I love the fact grape juice is so good for you. I don't know if you've ever done like a whole show about it, but even like with the juice, they're using like the skins and the seeds and all the stuff that actually has all the antitoxin things that are good for you. So it has enough like natural sugars that once I added the pectin, that's what gives it like a little bit of a thicker set, let's just call it. Like I said, and I try to show everybody, it's definitely got like a jammy texture, but it's not, like gelled, like a solid form. It's definitely kind of like a loose gel, but like, so it's just grapes and whatever the fruit is, the Marionberries, raspberries, or strawberries. And yeah, a little bit of the fruit. I mean, fruit pectin thickens things up too. So, which is usually, pectin is usually either like apple cores or citrus has a lot of pectin. Mine is usually like a citrus base, but like sometimes I'll switch to the apple one. It depends on what fruit you're using. Sometimes you juggle that around. It's the same thing with the acid. Sometimes you use lemon, and sometimes you use a balsamic vinegar, Thomas.
We have a new name for him, Tommy Balsamic.
Tommy Balsamic.
That's what I call him now. It's like instead of Tommy Bahama, he's Tommy Balsamic.
Tommy Balsamic.
Heidi says, can you comment on your cocktail recipes?
Oh, yeah, sure I can. Well, I found when I was working at the bar, I used people would come in. So like the place that I told you about, El Cid. So like I said, it was a flamenco dinner theater. And when I first started the jams in 2009, I was working there. And I would bring them in for just like brunch service. So they just happened to be there. And at the time, I think I only had 3 or 4 flavors, but I had a strawberry vanilla flavor. And people kept asking for like strawberry margaritas and stuff that we didn't have because it was a Spanish theme. So we had sangrias and that type of thing. So we made margaritas. And finally, I was just like, oh, just throw some strawberry jam in there, shake it up. And we made a strawberry margarita. So that, again, kind of opened my mind where I was, hey guys, can we... Sorry.
No, it's okay. We love having pets on the show. What kind of dogs are Schnitzel and Schnoodle?
Okay.
Or Schnitzel and Strudel? What's
Schnitzel and Strudel are deciding to play right now.
What kind of dogs are they?
Well, Schnitzel's a little baked potato. Come here, buddy. Ugh. Here's Schnitzy. He's a little brown guy. This new thing is new. And then this is Strudel. Oh, hi. She wants to play. And this is Strudel. She was a COVID puppy that we found on Craigslist or something, looking for mulch. You see a little puppy tied to a tree. And I was like, get in the car. We're going to get it. So we saved Strudel. Schnitzel's kind of happy about it. Not all the time. But he's my number one.
Yeah, adorable. He's like a little stuffed animal.
If you look back on my Instagram, there's lots of Schnitzel.
He is so cute. Well, thank you for rescuing that little doggy.
Oh my gosh, I know. How can you not? It's like we were literally looking for wood or mulch for the garden because we've spent a lot of time in the garden in the past year. And if there's just a little picture, like free dog with like a tiny little rope, like to a tree. I'm like, oh my God. Went and picked her up and now she's spoiled rotten.
That's great. Well, now we love you even more for rescuing.
I know. It's amazing. They bring so much joy. They just bring so much joy. It's so much fun. So speaking of cocktails, one of the things that I was going to make that wasn't on the recipe list because I thought it was so simple I'm gonna put my soup away for later, but I definitely want to eat that.
And if, Debbie wants to know, have you ever used chia seeds as a thickener?
I haven't, but I saw that. That's how you do your jam, isn't it?
Yeah, I just take like frozen blueberries defrosted or fresh and chia seeds and then dates if I need sweetening, and it's really thick and pretty
Yeah.
good.
Do you do a spicy one? And I should share this with you. I was gonna do a spicy date just because I wanted a jam that I could call hot date. But
That's fantastic. That it actually sounds pretty good, actually, because sweet and hot go well together.
see, you can have that, Chef AJ. Put hot date in your next book. Date jam. So I'm taking, this is basically the base of a lot of the cocktails I do. So I'll think of a cocktail, and if any of them have like a simple syrup or a sugary base, you can replace it with the jam. There's no muddling fruit, there's no extra stuff. So you have everything in here, which is the basis for a lot of drinks. So one thing that I wanted to bring up to everybody, actually these next two recipes are for the warm time that is coming towards us. I mean, I did the soup, so that was for chilly times, which we still have a tiny bit left of that, but on our way is our warm time. So I'm gonna make some frozen like ice pops. So I did a strawberry, cucumber, lime ice pop, and they're so amazing. But a really easy way to make a drink is you just, I mean, this is a bar spoon. Again, I'll come to you guys. I'm so glad I left like a little space here. So lo-fi jam. And then this is just a regular kind of like bar spoon. So you could use a teaspoon or a tablespoon. I just grabbed this because I have this humongous tiki glass. Because that's how I roll with my drinks, humongous tiki glasses. So I'm gonna do a nice big spoon, maybe two, because I have a big glass, of the jam. And then depending on whether you like lemon or lime, where to put my knife. I love that I'm in my kitchen. I don't have to search for anything. And then just like little squeeze of lemon. And just give it a stir. I mean, and you want to make almost like a little syrup here. And then your favorite soda water, or any soda water, doesn't have to be your favorite. And I do a little bit to start, and then I just like add some ice, and you've got yourself like a nice strawberry soda.
And that's good when you get the jam on the bottom, when you've got like a little bit you can't get out.
All right, so see, I don't know, little tiki thing. And so you have your base down there, and you add some soda water, and you are ready to go. And if you're a boozy person and you choose to put some booze in here, that's up to you. No judging. No judging. Only encouraging. And life is not complete without garnish, of course. Ta-da! Look, you guys, come on. I mean, instant drink.
That looks amazing.
Ah, it is really good, actually.
And I love your straw.
Always with the paper straws. It's funny, my strudel loves these too. So unfortunately, she just likes to run around with it in her mouth. She's a funny, funny girl. So since we took out the strawberry, which I'm going to keep drinking this, hope you guys don't mind.
I'm drinking too, so it's okay.
Good. Ooh, that looks pretty. Is it purple?
It's purple. Everything about me is purple.
I was just going to say.
I don't know
I
what
love that. So the third recipe that I shared on the site, strudel, you're not going outside. You gotta wait. Mom is very busy. So We are going to make some strawberry cucumber ice pops. And if you guys order the 3-pack box on loriansjams.com, and I put Chef AJ so you could find it easier, like even in the search. So Chef AJ box has all 3 flavors. What I'll do is I'll print these out and I'll put the recipes right in there for you. I mean, I'll eventually make a cute little recipe card, but for now, you're going to get a normal person printed out the recipe for you recipe, because you're getting it from a normal person. So I made strawberry cucumber ice pops, and they turned out so good. But while I was experimenting, I did learn some tricks. So we're going to do some tricks. I started with the strawberry jam again, and I took a little bit of jam. And if you have a popsicle mold, like I just have a regular popsicle mold, what I did is I put the jam in first on one side, and I used just like a butter knife. And you just put a little bit in there, because I found if you do this recipe and swirl it in, that the jam is a little heavier than the cucumber mixture. So it kind of fell to the bottom. So if you want to have cute little stripes, what I did, here, coming at you again. Da, 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 da. So I have the little cucumber pop. I just kind of put a little jam in there with a butter knife, not much, I would say. However much you want. Actually, if you like the strawberry better, put a bunch in. And then, sorry. Okay. So I put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. And then I flipped it over on the other side and put it in for, it's been a little more than 15 minutes now because I was getting ready for the show. But so it's in there and frozen. You got your frozen jam on either side. And what I did is I made a cucumber and lime puree, just a regular old English cucumber. And it took me about 2 limes. So it really depends on your limes, like how much you get. So you're going to want about a 1/4 cup of fresh lime juice and the zest. Highly recommend microplane. If you don't have one in your kitchen, you should have one. And the microplane is, do you guys see? It makes zest that is just like smaller and thinner. I mean, you can use like the big pieces of zest, but I find when you're making something like a popsicle or something that you're mixing in, that you really want it to be a little more fine. So having one of these in the drawer, it makes like, I don't know, zest dust. So magic zest dust. And you just scrape that in and you put it in with a peeled cucumber and put it in your Vitamix or your blender. And it just made a little, I put it aside yesterday. So I made a little cucumber puree, and I have my already prepped little guy, and you just put the puree in there. Boop, boop. So puree's in here. Boop, boop, boop. All like cute.
That is so creative.
Right? And it's so refreshing. So after you've had it in the, oh, here's my reveal. So you put it in the freezer and let it freeze, and then you're gonna pull it out and you're gonna have a little popsicle cooler for the summertime.
You are so creative.
Right? And it gives you like that little bit of sweet. So if you've just changed to this diet and you're missing your like sweet treats, you could make yourself one that has no sugar. It has fruit sugar, but cucumber sugar, but the lime zest, go for it. Zest that whole lime, both sides, because it really gives it that awesome tang. But look at how adorable. Great for like kids. They're amazing and cools everything down.
Wow. You ever thought about having your own show? You're very talented.
My own show? I'm on your show.
I know, but you're so great. You should have me produce a show. You're just a natural. And you're so creative. So Lori's saying that she wants to use your jams to make barbecue baked beans. That's a great use for it.
That's a great idea. When you do that, send me the recipe, girl. I'll put it up on the website.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're so much fun. You kind of remind me of Bette Midler. You just have this.
Oh my gosh. She's on my bucket list of someone that I want to have brunch with. So if you ever meet her, you tell her that Laura Ann will give her tons of jam and all she has to do is have brunch with me.
I wish I knew. Now that I live in the desert, I've seen like one celebrity here in like 2.5 years.
Oh, you will. Everybody's moving out there. My goodness.
I saw Steve Garvey, the former first baseman for the LA Dodgers. That's about it.
That's exciting. I'm a Dodger girl. That was the one thing that if my sister's watching, I'm in trouble. So when I switched from Cubs to Dodgers, I'm from Chicago. I don't know if we talked about that. Are you really?
Yeah, 7701 South Luella Avenue.
Oh, look at you. I lived in so many places. If I named off all of my addresses, I was one of those rock and roll chicks that moved every other year. But the last place I was Wicker Park, which was fun.
I'm not sure where that is.
Oh, it's right in the middle. It was kind of the like Echo Park of, the Silver Lake of Chicago, let's just say, before I left. Hey, I don't want to cover up my logo because I'm Laura Ann from Laura Ann's Jams, if you tuned in late, by the way.
This was such a wonderful fun. You just have such a fun person and easy to talk to, and the recipes are great, and just the ideas of all the recipes are great.
Right. Well, and I hope that, because again, with like the pops too, if you like the blackberry better, you can do that with anything. You could do it with like a lemon instead of lime cucumber. You could do lemon cucumber. There's so many places you could go with it. And I hope that today's little Chef AJ introduction session just encourages all of you to get out there and do stuff with jam,
Well, one of my favorite recipes, and it's a new one from my newest book, and it's like if people sign up to be on my mailing list, this is the one we send them, is something called jam bar. So literally we need jam for it. And when I made it with yours, it was just so much better because the commercial ones, they're all right and they're sugar-free, but there's such a difference between like an artisan,
Yeah. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. I love it. That's great. And the texture turned out really good.
Yeah, no, they came out great. And what I did is I put like half on one side and half on the other. And
yep.
It was really, really good.
Of
so
course.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun. And then again, like doing this show, I wanted to bring you some savory stuff because it's almost too easy to do like a baked jam thing. Because that's the first thing that people think. So I'm hoping to,
well, the other thing is
spread the good word about all the things you can do with jam.
There's an artisan vegan cheesemaker named Miyoko Shinner who has a whole line now. You can even get some of the products in Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. And I remember like one of the things I used to see, I've been allergic to milk forever, but people would always do a baked brie with jam on top.
Love that.
And you can get a vegan brie now, and people could be doing that with your jam.
Totally. It's awesome with the cheese putter. Like that's something that it actually says on every jar if I bring it up here. Well, gourmet fruit spread, cheese accoutrement, drink mixer. It's a little bit of everything.
Come out with a cook. Well, if you think of more recipes, come back on booking for September and see if people, I hope people will try your jams. And if they try them, is the popsicle recipe going to be in the box of jam? So yeah, Laura, we gave you Laura Ann was so kind. She gave you the recipes anyway in the show notes. But if you order the 3-pack of Chef AJ with the 10% discount, she'll do the written ones in the box.
I know. You know what, Chef AJ? You might have to change that because I upped it to 15%.
Oh my goodness. Well, I noticed that when I was in there. Okay, so wow, guys, it's 15%. So
I upped it to 15% because you all deserve it.
That's like 5% off each flavor.
I know. See?
Oh, you are too kind. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you today.
I enjoyed talking to you. I can't wait to see you in the desert one of these days.
Yeah, and I've got to try that. That shallot thing blew my mind, and I am going to try it in my Instant Pot because I'm lazy. And if it gets dirty, it gets dirty. I can wash it. I can soak it. I'm not.
Well, and the recipe I gave you is a lot. It's like 12 shallots and a lot of jam. You could cut that in half. Like just the idea of it. Like like you saw, just roasted like a few of them and then tossed it in the jam. So you can make it to order, as they say in the biz.
That'll be great. It'll be great on salads and everything. That sounds brilliant. Thank you so much, Laura Ann.
My
Laura,
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
oh, you are just a delight. Thank you. And thank you, Thomas, who was watching live, for recommending her. And you are going to get 2 free bottles of California balsamic vinegar just
Yay!
for being on the show. Yeah.
Hey, Thomas, do I get to pick the ones?
Yes, I'll send you an email. You get to pick them. But if you come on the show again, you don't get it every time you come on, but you get it.
Oh man. Well, okay, that's okay. Well, honestly, with it becoming cherry season, I was thinking about maybe doing a lo-fi cherry jam. So that would be fun.
Cherry would be my, oh God.
Right?
Yeah, cherry.
Well, every time things come into season, which we live in California, which is constantly like, you get all excited, like, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with that? And I'm like, oh, I should try the lo-fi with the cherry. So we'll see. Maybe by the time we come back, we'll do a whole cherry session.
That would be amazing. Thanks, Laura Ann. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. We have a bonus show for you today at 2 p.m. when my guest is Dr. Syl Corbett. She's going to be talking about her new book, Defunk: Strategies to Live an Inspired Life. And you seem like you do live an inspired life, Laura Ann.
I try to.
Yeah, you are fun. If you were here, we would
It makes it easy when I'm surrounded by inspiring people like yourself, Chef AJ.
If we live, I wish I could have met you when I was in LA, because we would be like best friends. You're just like my kind of gal.
I love it. I agree.
Okay.
We'll see each other soon.
All right. You got to get to work on that cherry. So come on.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.